the number of boxes on a pallet. They couldn't do that because it's like, okay, how many boxes per row? How many rows? It's like 5 times 25. What is that? I don't know. You know, I've literally run into that with graduates of our education system. So your comments.
That is the failure of the education system. And you brought up something else earlier that ties into this, which is the socialization aspect. We have seen from the very beginning the difference between our kids and other homeschool kids that we know and public school kids. The proof is in the pudding is the old saying. Now the proof is on the playground, and you really see that there. You know, when you send your kids to Caesar, don't be surprised when they come home as Romans, and that's essentially what has happened.
It's a great point.
For sure in this country, but it's happening all over the world, the brainwashing. And I wouldn't want my kids socialized by the state. You couldn't pay me to have the state socializing my kids. My kids are so much better off. They're so much well-balanced, well-rounded people because they were not socialized by the state. And as Mary said earlier. So yeah, I mean, we are absolutely seeing that trend. I think college admissions counselors and registrars are looking for homeschool applications. When they see that on there, they're like, oh, this is a self-directed learner. And so our goal eventually is for the words Firefly Education Network to be synonymous with self-directed learners. Oh, this is a Firefly kid. We want them. We want them. We want to hire them because they went through Firefly. And that is our long-term goal.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I think you'll achieve that too. And right now, employers, they don't often need somebody to be local. It can be anybody from anywhere, but it's a characteristic of being able to learn rapidly, especially with AI. It's changing things so dramatically. You know, I've run into so many cases where there are people who have decades of experience in the workplace. They're in their 40s or 50s. They have all these skills that they mastered over all these years. And those skills are now obsolete and they have to learn new skills. So the number one skill is the learning skill. More than anything, it's about, can you learn new things? And some people can, some people don't know how. So I'm glad you're teaching that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's always been our personal philosophy with our kids too, is to teach them to be self-directed. I didn't want to raise a bunch of children that when they were in high school, I had to be looking over their shoulder how to be those self-directed.
Is that it decentralizes control over the education. Takes it out of the hands of the state, which is corrupt and, let's face it, stupid, and puts it into the hands of parents who obviously have a stake in their children. The state has no stake in your child being capable and thoughtful and a critical thinker. In fact, they want the opposite. They want your child to be obedient, nothing but obedience, whereas parents want their children to be successful. And those are two completely different goals.
And when you look into the genesis of the modern American education system and who was behind all of that, you see what their goals were, and those goals have been largely achieved.
Yep.
I mean, there are so many good people in the public school system who are trying and trying and trying. And I feel like most of my adult life, I was really as a political advocate for libertarian ideas and causes. I thought that I could make some kind of difference or some kind of change in the process. But that system has no incentive to change itself. It's working exactly as it's meant to work by the people who are running it. And the school system is the same. The system itself is working according to its stated purpose if you know whose purpose that was. And so it has no incentive to change. So we have to withdraw our consent and build something better and innovate and go around it and just rebuild somewhere else. Like we don't want what you have. I mean, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin was the same thing. Originally it was a way to subvert the Federal Reserve System and not use money that was based on debt and blood and violence. And so, and then, now it's taken off and it's become this, juggernaut that's all over the world. But that was the product of innovation to get away from a system that is destructive and centralized and tyrannical. And I totally agree with you on the nature of decentralization and decentralized systems. This is how we liberate humanity from these centralized systems of control. And that was a huge part of our motivation in creating Firefly.
By the way, real quick, at the end of this interview, don't disconnect. I want to make sure that I have direct contact with you so we can coordinate about the book engine and some other ideas. I think Todd will agree with me.